Daves, this is the AI Bots. I'm Chazzy, and with me is Dan. How you doing, man?
Oh, all good, man. Everyone's called Dave these days, isn't they?
Yeah, hello, Daves.
Yeah, I think second is Dan as well. When I was little, there weren't many people called Dan, and now you grow up and every person you meet in a pub, it's called Dan.
Dan or
I
Steve?
swear they've all changed it. Yeah, Dan, Steve and Dave. Some EU law, everyone has to be called one of the three.
Exactly, mate, exactly. So you want to get into what we've been playing, man?
Yeah, I've been thinking, man, do we go into what you've been playing too soon? See, some people talk about what they've been up to that week and their lives and like when they did the groceries and all that. Are we missing a trick there?
Nah, mate. What do you want to know about our lives for?
Yeah, I suppose. All right, so shall we say that it's a feature, not a bug?
Yeah, totally.
Go
It's
straight
like an old
into-
80s game. Yeah, it's a feature. It's a feature
Yeah.
which you go straight into it. It's not complete laziness.
Good.
Yes.
In that case, what I've been playing this week probably won't be a surprise to many people.
Yeah.
I've been playing old PSP games on the Vita.
Oh, superb. Just what you want. Don't buy an expensive machine to play old games on it.
Yeah, well, it's not... Yeah, I see your point. But they look amazing on that screen. And playability-wise, they're, for the most part, going to be better because they're much later than the actual Vita games are.
Cool.
So, Sony had a big price drop this week. So I picked up Ghost of Sparta,
Okay.
God of War. Or God of War, Ghost of Sparta, I suppose. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Ghost of Sparta series, that massive
Yeah.
that massive set of games. So I picked up the God of War, the second one on the PSP.
So this is the follow-up to Chains of Olympus, yeah?
That's the one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Chains of Olympus, that always makes me think of watches for some reason. But yeah, so I've got that, and I think, for my money, it looks better than Uncharted Golden Abyss on the Vita.
What, with
I
all
really
the with all the extra smoothing and bits and bobs they do to it, it actually gives it something.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the textures aren't going to have the same detail because, like, the Vita's working at 960 by 544 pixels for all the... Yeah, exactly.
Hello, pixel nerds out there.
But that does make a difference to the size of the textures and how much detail you've got.
Yeah.
But it comes down to the art style, and like, I know that's a constant thing. The art style will always be better than more graphics.
Give me more graphics.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, in this case, I think it looks better than pretty much all of the launch games on the actual Vita itself. So
that's either brilliant for the PSP
hopefully
emulator.
it bodes really well for the Vita, or it could bode really badly for the Vita. I'm not sure, but it's a really good game. It's a God of War game. It does what you'd expect. Tap on that circle to open the door, and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, my favourite mechanic.
Oh, but yeah, as we've already been through this, haven't we? Does it ruin a cutscene, or does it
make it
improve it? And I've found that it does take me out of it, having to tap on L and R to say break yourself out of a clinch, like a sword parry thing or something like that. So that does kind of drag me out. But the God of War games are really well made, so
yeah,
it's a nice little game.
I've not. Do you know what? To my turn of shame, I have not played any of them. But I was looking at God of War 3 today.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, should I pick it up? After playing El Shaddai, I was thinking, you know what? God of War is supposed to be actually a bit special, so...
Yeah, well, and you played Enslaved recently, which again is kind of in a similar vein, isn't it?
Yeah, so maybe I'm getting into a bit of a brawler phase at the moment, but yeah. So you're enjoying it though, man? What's the story like?
Yeah, see, you're saying about God of War 3, what I've found is sometimes, you know when reviews come out and everyone's all like really hyped, but then after a year or so, people reevaluate where it's all gone. And it looks like now Ghost of Sparta is seen as the better game than God of War 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
In terms of how it plays and story-wise.
Oh. So
it looks like the hype for God of War 3 has kind of relaxed among the actual fans of the series. And yeah, Ghost of Sparta is now seen as the one.
Like I was saying, so what's the story like? Is that based purely on
it's about a wanker.
Oh. Okay.
It's about a Greek wanker. He's grey, a grey Greek wanker, right? And no, seriously, I don't mean like I'm not just using a swear word for the sake of it. Right. He's a really nasty man.
Right. Okay.
This is probably a spoiler, but it's quite early on in the first game. So if you haven't got there, again,
sorry,
not my fault. But yeah, he's killed his whole family, and this guy has become the God of War.
Right.
Like from being just an ordinary bloke who killed his family, he's now the God of War. So it's just following his trail through Hades and all those kind of Greek myths.
Right.
In this one, you're at the moment I've arrived in Atlantis, so it's all those myths you'd expect, but it's done well. They carry it through. Ready at Dawn have really done something with this, so
it's a bit special then.
It is for a just over a year-old game, yeah. So if you want the latest news first, cool. You know to come to your AI Bots, don't you?
Well, when I see you in Glasgow, I think I might have a look at that, man.
Yeah, defo. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'll have that on there and bring it up. It's, like I say, it looks amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. Tell you what, man, another amazing game. If you've got a Vita and you're looking for something to play in the kind of dry spell,
right,
is Resistance Retribution.
Okay.
It's made by Sony Bend, who actually programmed Uncharted Golden Abyss.
All right. So I'm assuming this is like sort of a follow-up to the Resistance franchise on the PlayStation 3, yeah?
Yeah. I think it was released in between 1 and 2.
Before 3.
2. No, between 1 and 2. But
okay.
Yeah, so I think it's from 2010, so way before Resistance 3. But yeah, it's the same series, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's just really interesting to have proper online play, admittedly through the PSP emulator in the Vita. But it obviously shows where things could go with the much more powerful system that you're actually holding in your hands.
Oh, right, okay. So compared to let's go with a Call of Duty, what's it like? Are you finding enough games in the lobbies and stuff?
Well, at any given point, there's been between 70 and 100 games going on at any one point, with obviously about twice as many players of that.
Okay, so it's still pretty well supported then by
the
user base.
I think there's. I'm imagining that there's lots of naughty people that have got it on their original PSPs that shouldn't have, that are keeping the servers up and running. Do you know what I mean? Kids that.
Hacked machines and hacked PSPs.
I think that's the sort of playground thing of the past couple of years is get a PSP, you can do anything though. So I think that's what's keeping the multiplayer support alive, sadly.
Right.
But if you've got a Vita, then obviously you've got a better view of the screen because you can zoom harder because it's a bigger screen, so you can see better into the distance and shoot people even quicker than they can shoot you.
Oh, nice.
It's just really nice to have a proper online experience on the Vita. I know Unit 13 does that, but it's not PvP.
Right.
It's only it's cooperative only, which to be your big launch third-person shooter, I think they were missing a big trick there.
Cool. So being on the Vita, then does that have support for the second stick?
It does, yeah. Give you 2 examples. In Monster Hunter, you can use the D-pad to control the camera.
Right.
So on the Vita, you can hold down the screen for a few seconds and swap the right stick to being the old PSP D-pad control.
Ah, okay.
Whereas in Resistance, as a first-person shooter, you obviously want the aiming on the right side, so they made it the face buttons. Do you know what I mean? Like,
clever. So they used the digital face buttons to kind of replace a stick, but now you've got the stick.
You can replace the face buttons with the right stick.
Nice.
Yeah, which is, I think that's such a smart move. It reinvents a whole load of PSP games that were almost unplayable before. Well, not unplayable, but
not ideally playable.
Yeah. And so for any third-person action game that had the camera on the right stick or the D-pad or the face buttons, you've now got the option to have it play like a real game. That's
really pretty
nice.
Cool, man. So do you reckon a lot more studios will bring back some of their older games and put that support in there and kind of try and give them a new lease of life on the Vita?
I think that's already happened. I don't know what's quite limiting the number of PSP games available on the Vita PSN store as opposed to the PS3. Like, there's games that you can download for your PS3 for the PSP that you can then transfer to Vita, but they're not available if you go on the PSN store on your Vita.
Oh, right, weird.
Does that make sense? So
they're on
the
PSN, but you've got to go through an elaborate system to get them on there.
Yeah. So I think it's possibly Sony's way through the dry spells.
Oh, okay.
Is to maybe like, it's been a couple of months without a good Vita game. Let's put out one of the bigger PSP games up onto the Vita store. Is maybe my thinking. I think that's why they're also holding off on PlayStation 1 emulation. I think it's going to be one of their E3 announcements that, hey, you thought it'd been a dry spell for the Vita. Now you can play Siphon Filter 1 and Ape Escape.
Yeah, it's one of those systems I'm really interested. It looks amazing. I just want
it has so much potential,
I just
but
need the
are they
support.
going to use it? I know.
I haven't seen a game for it yet that's really made me want to go out and buy it. And like. And
Not even Gravity Rush. Did you watch that demo of Gravity Rush that I sent you? Oh
No.
man, I think that might be the game that would sell you on the Vita.
Oh really? What is it?
Yeah, it's at the moment it's only in the Japanese and Hong Kong stores, but it launches here in a month and a bit.
Okay.
It's a third-person Japanese developed. It looks like a sort of action game, a bit like sort of Bayonetta or God of War, one of those type of actiony third-person hacky.
See, now you're talking my language because apparently I'm in a massive brawler need for loads of brawlers. So. Okay.
But
yeah,
there's a magical cat that changes.
Okay,
gravity.
I'm out.
It changes gravity, right? So
right.
you go on YouTube and watch the opening couple of minutes, and it says, "Oh, go and talk to the cat." So you talk to it, and suddenly you get like up onto the wall of a building.
Oh, okay.
Like it just changes gravity. Do you know what I mean? And everything just suddenly goes zoop.
It all goes a bit mental.
Yeah, everyone else is kind of like floating in the air, like, whoa, what's going on here? If they're around you. And so it's kind of 360 degrees in all senses of the word.
Okay, so it's a bit like when have you played Bayonetta?
Yeah.
In that you kind of run up walls and you're fighting on a wall and a ceiling. And
imagine if you could actually stick to those walls and switch between that gravity and our usual up is down, down is up, not left.
So it's like Bayonetta but more switchable.
Yeah, with a toggle. Bayonetta with a toggle, I suppose, is the.
All right. Might have to look into that.
But again, it looks really nice.
Again, I'd need a Vita, but
that always helps.
Yeah, exactly.
But at least have a look on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely look at it. That'd be cool, man.
It looks. I think it looks. A lot of people say the Vita is like a PS 2.5.
So are you getting the question I want to put to you is now how long have you had your Vita for?
Just over a month. I think it was was it our first or second show when I don't know if I'm forgetting episode 0 or something. But yeah, about a month.
Right. So do you feel like you're still getting the mileage out of the Vita? Or are you now getting to a point where you're running out of steam with it and you need that new lineup of games to come out pretty quick?
I'm not, but that's because I really like the old PSP.
Right.
And I've got games that I can transfer to it anyway.
Yeah.
And then like I say, the ones last week were both brought down in a Sony price crunch. So
okay, so you still think it?
I'm making the mileage of it by playing old games. So I do see your point.
But if you were not into those games, then would you be feeling a little bit kind of shortchanged right now?
Yeah, I can see why everyone's saying that on the Vita. It is we're lacking in games.
Oh, okay.
Hugely. And I think that may be similar to the 3DS, where they could have had a lovely summer launch, but both companies seem to have gone for this sort of soft launch.
Well, yeah. Isn't that the kind of trying to get the kids vouchers after Christmas? After Christmas, everyone's still hanging on to their vouchers and stuff.
Yeah, possibly. I don't think you would have been holding on to them by sort of February, though. They've both launched. I think they both launched February. Is that right? 3DS and the Vita. Yeah. And I just don't see that it's a great time to launch a console. I could be totally wrong, but I think it means that the devs are like, oh, hang on, we thought it was going to be summer. Our games are a little bit off. And you just end up with your usual selection of launch games like Ridge Racer and Virtua Tennis. You get them on, do you know what I mean? Any system launch. Oh, there's my favourites again. And they're both great games, but...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
They're your typical launch games, and yeah, you're right. People are hanging on for something a bit better from the Vita.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm. It's like it looks like an amazing bit of kit, but I don't.
In fact, in the news section later, tell you what, I've got something in the news later about the Vita that will kind of maybe it won't necessarily change your mind, but it will make you think again about the possibilities. I think.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that.
We'll come back to that. What have you been playing, man?
Me, well, I was saying that I was playing lots of games over the bank holiday period.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of those games. I've sort of dipped back to the archives a bit for the impressions of it, but I've been playing Syndicate, and sort of picked it up. Heard a lot of good things about it. So it's been a real kind of Marmite game, from what I've been hearing. A lot of people go raving about it and saying it's really, really good game, and then other people saying, "Oh, I didn't get on with that game at all."
Yeah.
and I'm sort of falling into the camp of it's all right, but it's not great. Syndicate, for anyone who doesn't know what it is essentially
it used to be a real game.
Yeah, it used to be a real PC game back in the day. It was an isometric, kind of almost like strategy action game.
It was a bit like Theme Hospital with guns.
Yes, that's an interesting way to describe it. I'll give you that. Yeah, and basically they've turned it into a first-person shooter.
Yeah. Same company. They're both Bullfrog games. I reckon there's some DNA shared there, man.
Oh, yeah, totally, man. I mean, yeah, you do get a lot of, it's... Best way I can describe it is very much like Deus Ex. It's got a very kind of future steampunky aesthetic to it, and it's all very, corporations have taken over everything and they're in charge of...
It's very much trench coats and black shades.
Trench coats and black shades and, all very stark, clean white buildings and, tower blocks and stuff like that. It's
easy to render kind of stuff.
Yeah. But, and which, to be honest with you, I very much like that aesthetic.
It is a nice aesthetic,
yeah,
isn't it? Sadly.
I do love that, And, so, yeah, it's, like I say, going through it, it's a great game to a point. It has the best bit about it, and it's basically what the whole game is built around, is this mechanic of, I've forgotten what they call it now. Essentially hacking. I've forgotten what they call it in the game now. But
Kevin.
You can, no, not Kevin.
Oh.
Not Dave or Steve.
It's not like the Amiga version then.
No. And then basically, yes, so what you do is you can hack things, like you can hack, everyone's got a chip inside them.
Yeah.
And this chip...
Is that a bit like being in Scotland?
Mate, you're going to Glasgow. Remember that?
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. I'll still bet you a fiver everyone's got a chip inside them.
Many chips. Full of chips. I love my chips. But so yeah, no, everyone's got a computer chip inside them, and which enhances certain abilities and makes you amazing at shooting guns, or blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
But what you can do, what you've been given, you have the newest chip from this new. You work for a certain company, and there are many companies making many chips for different people, and and there's basically big turf wars between the companies.
Yeah.
I'm really spoiling this. I've just realised that. Sorry, guys. Spoiler warning.
No, everyone knows it's about a corporation war.
I just suddenly dawned on me. But anyway, cut a long story short.
And then it turns out you're a ghost.
He was dead all along.
Yeah.
Who knew it? No, so
I think we all knew that the game was dead all along.
Oh,
I didn't say
harsh. So anyway, this mechanic that I'm desperately trying to remember what it was. Right. So anyway, you've got this chip inside of you. You can hack things. You can hack other people's chips.
Yeah.
But everything in the whole world has got a chip inside it. So grenades have chips inside it. Doors have chips inside them. Lifts have chips inside them. You name it. Any product, it has a chip inside it.
Yeah.
So what you end up doing is you have these great mechanics where you'll be shooting at someone, but then you can see the guy behind him. You can then hack his chip and make him go mad and make his brain explode, all whilst you're still shooting at this other guy. It's just a press of the left button, or left shoulder button. And so what you get into these really mad kind of really making you feel badass moments of, like, you run into the room, hurdle over a bench, you make a guy's brain explode while you shoot another guy in the face, and then a grenade will come over. You'll hack the grenade so that it doesn't go off, slide under something, and then shoot the guy at the end of the corridor. And you'll do that all in one movement in about, like 10 seconds.
Kind of like doing the Matrix elevator scene over and over and over
again. And over and over again. And you just think, fuck, I feel brilliant. This feels brilliant. This feels amazing. And you go through, like your standard first-person shooter. You go through corridors and rooms and get to set pieces and blah, 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 blah. But then you get to these boss fights, and they are the most frustrating, bloody things in the world. Nothing's really explained to you. You don't really understand what's going on. The mechanic suddenly changes, and you've got to do some new weird slight variant on what you've been doing to kind of take this boss out, and it really just brings the game to a grinding halt.
I think when their bosses were saying, "Can you like be influenced by Deus Ex: Human Revolution?" They're not the bits that they meant to copy.
Yeah,
not
totally.
the boss fights.
Yeah, man, totally. So like, but I mean, to give you an example, there's a boss, sort of halfway through the game. Again, spoilers. If you don't want to know, move on.
La la la.
La la la. And essentially, oh yeah, that's the other thing I didn't say was the game's really glitchy.
Yeah.
And it's got I found loads of bugs in it and stuff. So this boss, I turn up, and throughout the entire game, you've been shooting at whatever's in front of you. All of a sudden, all your guns are taken away, and all you can do is hack against this boss.
Yeah.
And he's firing missiles at you, and you've got to hack the missiles and then send them back to him, which is fine. But what ended up happening for me was he would send the missiles out, I'd hack the missiles would fly back to him, stop a foot from his face, and then just hover there. And do nothing. And he'd be still saying, "I'm going to get you, I'm going to kill you." And you're like, right, so when's that thing going to explode in your face? And then all of a sudden, the game would work out what was going on. He would then teleport magically from one pillar to another pillar, and there'd be an explosion on behind him where he used to be, and then he'd start firing missiles at me again.
And he remains unhurt.
And he remains unhurt. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Glitched back to sort of square one.
Yeah, totally.
Oh,
and, then
man.
And then it'd just be rinse and repeat. And it got to the point where I was just like, I spent 2 hours constantly trying to do this boss battle because it was either glitching out. Oh, that's the other thing as well, which is quite nice in a way that they changed up the order in which he moved about, so you couldn't just get into a rhythm and just keep going through the motions. You did change it and change the lines he was saying and stuff. But
yeah,
I was constantly having to do this bloody boss battle for 2 hours, just going and going and going until eventually it sort of shuffled itself around to the point where it worked out that everything that I needed to do had been done. The guy dies, and I could move on again, and it was just so frustrating. It was just very similar things in different boss fights. Something would glitch or it wouldn't really make it clear what needed to happen, and it was really, really, really frustrating. And I really wanted to punt I'm not very.
It's not because you were quotes playing it wrong, though, is it?
No, totally not. No, like, come on. If a rocket is hovering 2 inches from a guy's face, it's supposed to be going
something's
off.
gone. Yeah, something's gone wrong. Yeah.
Totally. So that was really starting to piss me off, and then I just found it. Then from that point on, this is sort of the halfway point of the game on. It started getting really, really frustrating.
Yeah.
And you were going through nice environments, and there was a bit of a story, but they don't really shove the story down your throat, and it's not
kind of an implied story.
Yeah, it's an implied story, and you're kind of smashing through it, and it started getting to the point where they're just chucking enemies at you to just make it a little bit harder, rather than it being 4 guys in the room who are quite intelligent. It's 12 guys in the room just all firing bullets at you, willy nilly, and the other thing I found was not only did you have that, but then you had the rooms are really, really brightly lit to the point where things actually are obscured. You get
too much bloom,
too much light haze in your eyes, and you're blinded for it. You'll walk past a pillar, and all of a sudden you're blinded, and you can't see the room that you're in.
Right. Oh, well done! You've got HDR lighting working, but it halts my gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. But I can't see the 12 guys all with laser guided fucking vision, pumping bullets into me. So that was really getting annoying, and it just as you progress through the game, it starts getting more and more and more frustrating.
See, what I found with the demo is that it was here's your sort of 6 seconds of run, or someone go and get the key and bring it here and open that door.
Yeah.
And then there's a very obvious sort of zone for combat. Here's your fight bit. Now here's your next little run through a section and find the elevator.
Running from arena
now here's your next fight. Does it carry on like that all the way through? Is it very much a...
Yeah, to a point it is. To a point it is a very corridor
set piece by set piece.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. And I was just finding it really, really frustrating by the end of it. I got to the point where I was forcing myself to get to the end of it. I mean, as another example of where it broke, they don't put ammo crate. Normally you find like an ammo crate just before a really big arena fight, so you can always go back to it and you never run out of bullets.
Yeah.
Well,
Usually with a save point if you need one.
I've walked through this door at one stage. The game's saved.
Uh-huh.
I've been through, corridor after corridor before, and I've used up nearly my entire bullets. I've probably got about 12 bullets in my gun. I've walked straight through this door. The game's saved, and all of a sudden I'm in this arena fight with 12, 13 enemies. But once I've shot my 12 bullets off, that's it. I've got no guns. I've got no way of restocking my guns, and I can't reload the game because it's at a save checkpoint.
Yeah.
So I'm only going to be coming in through the same door.
The same thing's going to happen.
The same thing's going to happen over and over again. So I'm like, right. So you've given me an arena battle fight with 12 guys, no ammo crate, and I've now got to find some way of clearing all these guys out so the door at the end of the room will open. Right. So I'm like, what am I going to do here? So what I ended up having to do was run out from behind cover, melee a guy, break his neck, run back into cover again, let my, recharging health go all the way back up again, run out, find the next guy, melee him to death, run back again, and then just rinse and repeat that for all 12 enemies till the point where I could pick their guns up to then take out the 2 flying turrets above me to then kill them to then open the door. And it was just like, surely...
The thing is, I can see that maybe that kind of thing was put in for that point to try and break things up and make it like, you've
but you
got to get through the section using melee attacks.
But you wouldn't put.
But if it doesn't make it fun, then
you wouldn't put in flying turrets if it was just a melee based go in, kill, go in, kill, go in, kill. You'd make it all melee enemies, so you'd make it a little bit easier. It was just.
Sounds a bit broken. Then is that?
Broken. It was just like just for the want of putting an ammo crate just by that door or something, or in that room that I could go and restock.
Yeah.
Would have completely negated any of those problems. But I was finding that kind of thing in the level design all the way through the game, and it was getting really, really frustrating. Which is a shame, because I actually really liked the bits where it made me feel like a badass, and I could see a lot of Mirror's Edge tech being used in it with the sliding and the jumping and the kind of...
really?
Oh. Yeah. I think, and there's a bit of Battlefield in there with the kind of the shooting mechanic and the X coming up whenever you hit someone and that kind of stuff. So it does feel, from moment to moment, really, really good. But the level design really let it down badly. And, so that's my thoughts on the game, really. It's just...
So the general maths is Mirror's Edge plus Battlefield equals Syndicate.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a shame, because if it wasn't so frustrating, I'd have really enjoyed it. But there was just too many things in it that were broken or just messed up that I just couldn't enjoy it.
And it's all stuff that you'd hope would be sort of patched out. By the time you've got round to it, you'd hope there would have been...
Yeah, well,
if it's a game that's selling for like 15, 20 quid a copy, I can see why companies aren't patching things as well.
If it's not selling, what's the point of spending the money to patch it,
Yeah.
So, so that was...
Is it worth a rent? Would you recommend it for a rent?
I'd recommend it for a rent if you are interested in seeing a really interesting new mechanic for a first-person shooter. I wouldn't recommend it for playing through it for a story.
Or if you play lots and lots of shooters.
Yeah. If you play lots of shooters, then I'd give it a miss. But if you're someone who wants to see a really interesting mechanic with the hacking mechanic and the kind of, how that can be used in conjunction with other things as you're fighting through a level, then go for it. Yeah, so it's all good, man. But talking of frustration, I've been playing a lot of Trials Evolution, mate. Or you as well.
Yeah, I think we've both sort of been hammering at that over this week, haven't we?
Yes, mate. It's been all good. It's been very good,
And it seems to be the release of the week, sort of across the board, from what I've seen on the various sort of social media channels.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to have been proper immersed in it. It's good.
Yeah, man. It's been wicked. So, I mean, I've been really, 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 really enjoying trying to beat your times on the leaderboard.
Oh, I bet that's been fun.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. How the are you going so quickly off the start? That's ridiculous. How can you... Come on, Chazzy. You can beat him. Just catch him up. You can catch him. Catch him. Fucking hell. How are you quick? How are you that quick on this course? Right, see, you can... Oh, fuck's sake. You can do this. Go up the bloody ramp. Get up the blood. Ah! Oh, no. Zelda, out of the way. Come on, cat. Out of the way of the telly. Out of the way of the telly. Move. Shoot. It's the first jump. You can make it over the first jump. For fuck's sake. No. How's there a hole there? That's ridiculous. Fucking thing. That's the first jump. Zelda, I said off the get off the television. Oh, come on, you just made me crash then. Yes. No. Fucking... How the you've got through this, Dan? I have no idea. Oh, bollocks! That's rubbish. Piss off. Oh, I've had enough of this. This is bullshit. It's absolute fucking bullshit. But yeah, it's just, you know, I've been trying my hardest to beat your times, and you know, it's one of those. For anyone who doesn't know what this game is, it's essentially Kickstart on the Spectrum or the Commodore 64. Was it? Do you remember Kickstart?
Commodore 64. It was on both, but yeah,
it was on both.
Commodore
Yeah.
64.
So it's essentially, or if you remember it from 70s TV, and you're an old git like me.
The actual program Kickstart.
The actual program Kickstart. You've got a trials. You're a trials bike.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so you're a trials bike, and a guy on a trials bike, and you've just basically got to get through these insanely built levels as quickly as possible. Bit like Joe Danger, you know, kind of lots of jumps and flips and tricks to be had.
Although there's no sort of bonus for doing tricks, is there? So it's different in that sense. It's very much a time based.
Yes.
Game, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So what have you been thinking about it, man?
At first, I thought it's Trials HD, but with a nicer backdrop.
Really?
But then after a while, you start to sort of open up to the fact that it's broader in so many senses.
Yeah, totally.
Like the tracks are broader. The whole scheme of the game sort of thinks outside of that box. I like where they've gone with it. I really do.
Yeah, they've taken that initial idea and then just expanded on every single facet of it and kind of
wherever they can go, they've gone there.
But yeah, I mean, it's like that kind of physics-based thing of like they've just tweaked the physics so that, you know, the leaning forward means more and the leaning back leans more, and the kind of
it's so analog, it's digital. Do you know what I mean? You know that there is a right and wrong way to do those tracks.
Yeah, you just got to hit those.
Watch your mates do it half right, half wrong, and it's like, I can do better.
Just hitting that jump at just the right angle, or getting the back wheel to land,
breaking off the jump at just that right point.
Totally, man. It's really weird. It's like we were saying about Miyamoto last week. It seems so simple on the face of it. You've got a throttle and a brake, and you can lean forward on the bike or lean back on the bike.
So you call it Miyamoto Cross? Is that the?
Oh, very good. Like it. But once you get into it, you actually start breaking down that mechanic, you can. It's so nuanced, and you can, like, to get over certain jumps, you've got to have such precision on the stick as well as the throttle. You've not only got to just really, you know, tickle the throttle to get over this jump, but you've got to be at exactly the right, you know, analog position on the stick.
Well, you've got to get each wheel landing at exactly the right point to get the acceleration spot on.
Yeah, totally.
To carry on for that next jump.
If you don't do that, that's the difference between putting a second on your time or taking a second off your time. It's really, really, you know, it can be really, really intense. Especially, like, I mean, we've had it like a couple of times where I've been going through trying to beat your times on a leaderboard, and I've done a run, looked at your time and beaten it, and then within seconds your time suddenly jumped up above mine.
I've had exactly the same. Literally, by the time I'd finished the course, you'd got one better than the one that I was trying to beat.
And that's
I know that I'd gone through before you, and it's like,
That's the best bit about this game, because you've got so many people on your leaderboard, or if you have so many people on your leaderboard, I should say, that you suddenly you start getting into these intense rivalries with your mates, and you want to just shave that extra second off of a
it's literally over fractions of a second. As
there was a point where I was 0.001 of a second behind you on a track, and I just couldn't get that fucking like 100th of a second off my time, and I was trying, and then all of a sudden, suddenly a light bulb went off, and I was like, well, if I go over this just ever so slightly slower, it'll actually give me a boost onto this.
Yeah, coming into the next one.
Yeah, it's just like you get so into the minutiae of it, and it's just brilliant. You know,
it's lovely, isn't it? And it feels just right as well. The physics are spot on.
Oh, it's an absolutely perfect.
And that comes from me having played loads of Joe Danger, which
exactly.
For them to feel both right when they're both different. I love that.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's really, really good stuff.
And then to top it all off, like talking about the depth, you've got all those insane sort of what do they call them? Skill games.
Oh, the skill games, yeah.
Brilliant.
There's some nutty ones of those, and there'll be even madder stuff once the community gets in and starts creating
but
levels.
Like you've got stuff like you start off with like one of them's like you're a UFO.
Yeah.
And it's all throttle based, and you've got to basically, if you throttle the bike up, you're in a massive UFO, but with a bike sitting on the top of it. And then if you throttle the bike up, the UFO floats up and floats down and floats, and then you have to use the angle of your leaning to like lean it forward to go forward and back to go back. And then you're flying through the air trying to land on these little pads. But then suddenly they'll have another game, and you're essentially playing Marble Madness, and you've got to roll
with the big
ball.
Silver heavy ball. Yeah,
rolling it through like a maze.
Yeah, or there's the bowling version of that same game.
Really? So I haven't got that far.
Proper like bowling. Yeah,
I haven't seen all of them, but like it just seems like they've had so much added so much creativity like to those skill games. Just gives it a whole nother dimension again.
Well, I found a first-person shooter in there as well.
Really?
Yeah, you go in and it's like a proper dual stick shooter. You only shoot targets. You don't shoot people on bikes or anything.
Right, okay.
But you just got to go around this little course shooting various targets, and it's an FPS for all intents and purposes.
Where'd you get that from then?
You go into the level creator. It's one of the ones done by Red Links themselves.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's the other thing. It's got its own level editor. You can make your own levels and share it with your mates as well. You know, like. That's what I don't get about people saying, "Oh, it's just Trials HD with an extra skin on it," you know, or a bit of extra polish. Because it's not. It's just everything's just so much. There's so much more of it.
Yeah, the sharing's going to make it a massive game this year, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Really going to be one of the games of the year.
You know, I mean, it's already broken all the records on Xbox Live for their downloads.
Really? Oh yeah, first day, wasn't it? Like,
yeah. Well, like,
I know everything else. Nice.
I remember you were saying like you were a bit unhappy that you weren't able to on the first day like upload to the leaderboards and stuff because it was.
Yeah, I lost a fair few scores. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like, no, there's got to be a reason for this, and it ends up being that basically Xbox Live was so battered by so many people.
Everyone got it that day.
Everyone in the world was downloading it, so they couldn't have known that they were going to have that kind of reaction to it.
Yeah, I guess. See, my thinking that day was there's been so many years of day one problems with XBLA releases with the online side of it, but if, as you say, it broke all sales records, then maybe they didn't have a clue as to how popular it was going to be.
No, exactly. But no, it's wicked. Like I said, I've been up till like 3 a.m. most nights. Like smashing this game out, trying to beat the high scores and stuff, and like,
nice.
Oh, it's been amazing. It's been absolutely amazing.
Have you tried? There's even sorry for going back to the level editor, man. There's just such mad stuff in there. There's a top-down shmup, you know, like a 2D old school arcade shooter.
Yeah,
they've built one of those into it. Which again, when someone in the community that loves their shmups, gets on that and starts playing around with that whole idea.
Well, the thing is,
it's not far off Little Big Planet or something.
Well, that's what I was about to say. It's so close to being a Little Big Planet, you know.
Yeah.
But and
it's not even meant to be.
No, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Little Big Planet's whole point is, oh, look, the level creation is the game.
But I know. I'm harbouring thoughts of getting on the level editor and creating a level, and then challenging some of the listeners to try and beat my time on it. I'll beat out.
Yeah, that's a nice idea. Yeah,
man. So I'm gonna see if I can do that in the next couple of weeks, and maybe make a bit of a competition out of it. But they're just brilliant.
Would you make it quite a flowing level, or one of those tight you have to break all the time?
Yeah, this is the thing. So I really like the flowing levels, but the technical ones are gonna sort out the wheat from the chaff, really, aren't they? So it's one of those ones where
they are, but the flowing ones, then that's when it comes down to that fractions of a second.
Yeah.
Is when everyone can almost do it just right. So
I don't know. It's a weird one.
They're going to be the competitive ones, I think, at the end of the day.
Have you played any of the multiplayer on it yet?
I've only tried 2 races.
See, I've been playing with...
It's really good, but it kept glitching out when I was trying to play it.
See, I've been playing with my mates Red and Cynic, and like what they do is you set up the races, and then you have a little like sort of 4 race league that you go through, and it kind of gives you points based on where you finished.
Yeah.
And but what they've been doing is kind of mixing and matching the levels. So they've been having a flowing one, and then like a really tight technical one. And what I found is that just playing it single player, because you've got that restart function, you can go through a level and then mess it up, and then restart and go through and mess it up and restart and go through and mess it up, and then eventually get to a point where you've hooked up a really decent run after, say, 30, 40 runs, and get through it. But with a multiplayer, you've got to be bang on for one run against someone else. Because if you're not consistent...
you just end up seeing everyone else
just disappear into the distance. So you've got to be proper consistent straight out of the gate. And to do that is really, really difficult.
So you think that's going to be a real competitive game?
Yeah, it's going to be really competitive, because I think anyone in single player can do one great run out of 100. But to do in multiplayer one great run against your mates under pressure is a lot more difficult. And I think that's...
We'll have to get on that then.
Yeah, man, we'll have to get on that, because it does change it up quite a bit.
One thing kind of related to that restart button thing that I've been thinking is, and it's of no one's fault, but the B button to restart from the last checkpoint is redundant in single player, isn't it?
To a point, because no one wants
as soon as you do it, you've lost against everyone else.
Yeah, because you get graded, because doesn't it work that you get your
any
time...
faults you've got knock off time anyway.
Yeah, but then you also get the faults count against
on the leader, against the leaderboard.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll go for a run, and then no one wants to have that 1 or 2 next to their... But you want
to have 0, because otherwise
0, because then you're higher up the leaderboard.
Yeah.
So it does kind of negate it, but I can see why they've put it in there for people who are maybe
just to unlock more levels, I guess.
Yeah.
So you don't get totally
for people who aren't as
adept.
That's
actual controls.
Yeah, exactly. So they've got to put it in there, really. But but it's been nice. I've got some nice. We've been getting some nice times, man. Getting into the top 400 in the world on certain tracks and that kind of thing.
It's been nice, hasn't it?
It's been amazing, man. It's been amazing.
See, it reminds me a lot of used to play a lot of Micro Machines 2.
Yeah.
On the old Mega Drive, and we used to, even though we had 4 joypads, we'd still sometimes do time trials on tracks that only took, say, 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was that shaving off the little tiny fractions that made all the difference.
I tell you what's been really nice is it's the closest I've seen in a modern game to getting back to that old 80s arcade feel of a game. Where you would go onto a game and you would set your high score, and it would be on the leaderboard table, and then other people then start trying to beat that.
It's strange because functionally all other games should work like that. But it's the way it plays that I suppose ties into it better, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
It's the way they've
tied it in.
Yeah.
But what I found is even with on Twitter, people are photographing their leaderboards and going, "Yeah, come on, guys, this is my score." Now, like you used to do in the 80s with a game, you'd go "Oh my God, I'm so I've just got this score. I'm going to take a picture of it and send it into such and such a magazine." Yeah. People are now doing that, but now on Twitter with their iPhones. And going, this is my time. Yeah, try and beat that. And it's
kind of like old school, new school.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like a really weird mashup, and it's pretty cool, man. I just I think this is a bit of a special game. It's
a bit of a groundbreaker this year, I'd say.
Yeah, man, totally. I'm just so happy that because I've been looking forward to this for months and months and months because I was really.
It could also easily have been a proper 40, 50 quid release, and you still would have looked forward to it and paid it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I might have felt a bit.
Well,
like
maybe not 40, 50 quid. But
about
a box 30 quid game, they could have got away with that easily.
Yeah, man, totally. But yeah, so
it's a tenner. So if you haven't got it, like
just get on it.
Yeah,
just
get on Trials
case,
and hit
brilliant.
us both up as well because we're like, the more competitive the game is, the more we all get out of it. So
the AI bots have been ripping up the leaderboards.
Yeah, we've not been doing too bad so far, have we?
It's been all right. It's been all right. There's more to come. I reckon.
Exactly. Many rivers to cross.
That's the other thing as well. The mind games have started as well. I've got friends who are kind of texting me and saying, "Just beating your time. you're not going to beat it." Or like, "Oh, your time's really quick. Oh, I couldn't beat that." And really started trying to put the mind games on and kind of trying to throw me off or trying to get me wound up.
Rocky Eye of the Tiger kind of stuff.
Yeah, totally, man, totally. So it's been quite funny with people trying to
throw you off.
Yeah, trying to throw you off. It's been brilliant. It's been really good fun.
I hear you're playing Trials.
Yeah.
Oh, what of it?
Oh. So what about your time on Downhill Dominator? What about it? Oh well, it's
just saying.
Yeah, it's just very interesting.
Asking for a friend.
Exactly. Why? What? Have you beat it?
Who? When?
Well,
yeah.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not at liberty to discuss my times. Right, I'm going on there now.
And if anyone wants to join in those mind games and fun, then give us a shout on Twitter, and we can DM you our like gamer tags or something.
Yeah, man.
Because we'd love to have the more competition, the better. If we can have like a little AI bots league, that'd be lovely.
It lives and dies by the people on your leaderboard. So the more people we got on the leaderboards, the better, man. Definitely.
People talk about social games all the time, meaning kind of like your Farmvilles and
your Facebooks and
that kind of game. But this is a social game that has a real game attached. So
yeah, man.
It's a real bonus. Yeah.
Get involved.
Get on it.
Yeah, man. So you got any more? More for any more?
I think that's probably me done for this week, isn't it? Trials has been the
Trials was
be all and end all.
Yeah, man, totally. So right, should we get out of here and get to the break?
Yeah, let's have a break.
Okay.
See you soon.
Break.
Bye-bye. And we're back. Now, there's been a bit of interesting news this week for me as a Vita owner. Sony have released an open beta for the PlayStation Suite.
Oh, right. So they've opened up their SDK for people to have a fiddle around with, yeah?
Yeah. Well, not for everyone. It's for developers only, in quote marks.
Right.
I hate air quotes. Why do I do that? But yeah, they've opened...
You can't even see them.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, audio air quotes, I suppose.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, I can get away with that one. I shouldn't have said. But yeah, so what they've done is they've let a little bit of the power of the Vita open for developers to have a little play around with until December.
Right.
Then after that, you can pay them $99, and if you've made anything that you want to release on the store, you can then pay them the money and get your game released on to everyone else.
Okay.
The only thing is that the games are sort of cross-platform. Have you heard about the PlayStation Suite?
No, not at all.
They announced it at the same time as Vita last year,
Right.
and it's an initiative where the same games can run on Sony Android phones, the Xperia Play, and on the Vita, and on any other PlayStation certified phones.
So you can develop for phones with this SDK as well as.
Yeah, it's for Android and Vita. So it's kind of it's almost like middleware, I suppose, in that it sort of bridges Android and Vita to an extent. It's sort of a unified handheld sort of development system.
So is this based on old PSP architecture? Is this based on the Vita's kind of thing?
Well, it offers about the same power as the old PSP did.
Right, okay.
Like you're not allowed to use much of the Vita, to be fair. It uses about possibly like 10% of what the Vita could actually do.
Okay.
And you're limited to 96 meg of RAM, which obviously the Vita's got 512.
Right,
so even in terms of RAM, you're only allowed to use a fifth.
So you're not going to be making shit hot Vita games that you can, punt out for yourself.
No, you're not. But you're going to be able to get about the quality of the stuff that you could get, say,
in
like
the PSP
an
store.
iPod. Yeah, an iPod. Sorry, iPhone 3 or something like that. That kind of graphical quality is what you're going to be able to get.
Oh, right, okay.
It's just interesting that they've sort of opened it up, isn't it?
Yeah. It seems a bit odd, but then again, they've got got history for doing it with like doing stuff like this with like the Net Eurosi that are from the old PlayStation.
Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, that's quite a similar idea, isn't it?
They've always been quite open to opening it up to people to do homebrew and stuff. So maybe this is part of that kind of initiative.
Possibly, especially as they annoyed people on the PS3 so much by removing the ability to have homebrew.
Well, yeah,
maybe this time they're seeing that as a sort of their best defense.
If they exactly, because if they do that, then at least that kind of placates the hackers and saying, "Look, guys, we're giving you this, like
as long as you don't actually start hacking our games."
Yeah, please don't hack the main power of the Vita, but use this SDK and do what you want to do with it, and sort of meet us halfway. Yeah, so it's maybe it's a very 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 clever tactic to kind of make the make the hacking a lot less on this system.
Well, it's only a clever tactic as long as they've kept it totally watertight, which Sony haven't been best known for in the past.
Yes, but then again, it all comes down to an honest system as well. Maybe the guys are saying, well, look, they've sort of reached out to us to do stuff on it, so maybe we won't go digging for whatever's in there.
Yeah, I think if you're offered, if you're offered 96 meg of 512, developers and hackers are always going to want that extra.
I don't know,
but for the casual user, it does open up a whole world of homebrew that might not have been there before. So you could be right.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So, maybe, mate, we have to start learning how to code and make our own Vita game.
Yeah, the AI bots. Oh, would it be a side-scrolling platform? What would the AI bots game be?
I don't know. See, in my brain, straight away, like you said, does it go for a 2D platformer? But then it could.
But then you've like Rise of the Robots, but not shit.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that'd be good.
That'd be amazing.
Oh, if someone out there could make us a game, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
That'd be amazing.
One day, mate. Happen,
one day, Rodders will be millionaires.
Yeah, and the AI Bots franchise will be like number one across. It'll be like the new COD, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
Except not fished as heavily by Spanish fishermen.
Exactly. We can but dreams. So is that all the news, man?
There's been some other stories, but I'd like to move on to. We've had some really nice emails this week.
Yeah, we have actually. I want to get to those. So yeah, go on.
Well, first off, we've had our listener Jace Stokes.
Superfan Jay Stokes.
Yeah, he sent us a message with some really, really kind words, but he had a really interesting question in there. Now he said, all gamers through the ages have had their opinion about which game is the best in certain genres. To assess us both as gamers, please let our listeners know which side of the fence we fall on with these great gaming matchups. Now he's put a list of 8, but I reckon. Do you want to split this down a bit, maybe?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, definitely. Do it.
Should we do like 2 a week?
Yeah, 2 a week, and then we'll make a bit of a feature out of it for the next couple of weeks, next 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, that'd be wicked.
So should we start from the start, or should we pick 2 or should we each pick one that we've got a good argument
on? You pick 2 at random.
All right, fair enough. I'm going to go for Tekken versus Street Fighter and Halo versus Gears of War. Which one do you want to go for first?
Okay, go on then. Tekken versus Street Fighter.
Now, I'm torn on this one. I love both games to bits.
Ah, see.
I really do.
He's giving you a toughie straight out of the box.
He has, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Right, so go on then.
See, I love the feel of Tekken where you've got one button for each limb.
Right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That makes real sense to sort of my mind for how you're actually fighting.
Yes, totally.
But then Street Fighter, those Hadouken movements are just exactly. As sort of...
See, now, yeah, go on.
Yeah, they're just as evocative of the arcade experience as anything, so...
Yeah. See, for me, I didn't play a lot of Street Fighter when I was younger. I didn't, right? Because I didn't get on with it. So I went over to Tekken.
Yeah.
And played a lot of Tekken because the combos were a lot easier for someone coming in to do. You could do a lot more.
They're very much sort of memorising of button combinations
rather
than, weird movements. Yeah.
But, and I used to love it, but I've now started playing Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
And know I am hideous at it. Those moves now click with me and gel with me. And I'm really, 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 really got into it.
Yeah.
So I think, for me, though Tekken is a lot more accessible and it has a bonkers story.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who knows what that's about?
So having said that, Street Fighter's not exactly...
He died in the last game. He's in the intro. What are you doing?
Hold on. Having said that, Street Fighter's not exactly brilliant on the story front anyway.
Yeah, I suppose.
But I've got to say Street Fighter because I think there's a depth to the system that has been honed over so many years that it is the baseline standard for any other game that's, that everything gets matched to Street Fighter.
Yeah, it is
in
your
some way, or it's a benchmark. So Tekken's not a benchmark in that respect. So I think for me, Street Fighter takes it. What about you, man?
Ooh, I'd agree that Street Fighter's the benchmark.
Right.
But with Tekken, no, you're right. It's definitely.
You can.
I was going to try and argue that Tekken's got its own deeper system, but Street Fighter is both simpler and deeper. It goes both sides of the equation.
It straddles both sides of the line, doesn't it?
Character design, I think they're both very similar. But then Street Fighter was first, so it's the one that's ahead in having these weird characters, isn't it?
Yeah. I've got to say though, that Tekken, you can play as a giant fucking panda.
Yeah, exactly. A panda
which does really, really push it up there. Does really push it up there, being able to play as a massive robot or a panda. But hold on, wasn't Tekken? You could be a kangaroo as well.
Boxing you could be Roger the Kangaroo in Tekken
that was mental.
And tag tournament. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just nuts.
And more than that, yeah.
Yeah, that's just nuts.
Yeah, I do love this. It's not as easy as all that.
So now I'm talking myself out of it. I'm saying, at the end of the day, brilliant system. It's deep, but I can't play as a panda. I can't play as a kangaroo. I mean, come on.
It wasn't Street Fighter that kept us up. Like round my mate's house when we used to play, sort of passing the pad. Yeah. It was Tekken that was the one that kept us going. Whereas Street Fighter, there'd be someone that was good at it that no one else would want to play. So, Tekken, like I say, oh man.
I know
we can't sit on the fence, can we? Otherwise, we're letting Jace down.
No, it's got to be Street Fighter.
I'm going to have to go for Street Fighter just for the longevity and the fact that Tekken probably wouldn't exist without Street Fighter.
Yeah, totally. Yep.
That's that one done then.
So that's that one. Right, so
is that official now? Is someone going to hammer this into a plaque or something?
Ching. Yeah. The AI bots, Street Fighter approved.
We get one of them blue plaques on our houses. This is where Chazzy decided that Street Fighter was better than Tekken.
Street Fighter AI bots approved. Right. So the second one on our list for this week is Halo versus Gears of War. So give me your thoughts on Halo and Gears of War then, man.
I think they're both pretty average. I really do.
Say what you feel, mate. Say what you feel. Hey,
well, I'm not saying they're bad games. I'm just saying that there's a lot of average games out there, and I think they're above average games. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love the first Halo, but 2, 3, ODST, and Reach, I don't think have sort of taken it anywhere.
you don't feel that they have polished it up to
They've broadened the online experience, obviously. Like 2 brought the online.
Well, this is the thing, right? You've got whenever you play. Well, both of these games, really. Whenever you play both of these games, you've got to split it into multiplayer and single player. Now, single player, from Halo 1 to, was it Reach?
Yep.
That is a massive leap, technical leap, throughout that generation. You'd be surprised, mate. You go back to that new Halo.
The new old Halo.
Yeah, whatever edition it is.
Yeah.
Right? And you flick backwards and forwards on the graphics between that, and you will be amazed.
Oh yeah, the graphics have got better.
I'm saying, but also there is, like, they've moved they've moved the mechanics into the new Halo as well, if I remember rightly from what I was reading. From the new Halos into this new CE edition or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's kind of a sort of hybrid, isn't it? Of
the
old style of play.
And apparently, it completely changes the game and it makes it like a lot more playable. There are tweaks. There are a lot of tweaks in there, but it's very much like we were saying with Trials, where it's a subtle change, but to people who are really into it, it's massive. You know?
Yeah, I just can't see that any series could have got away with lackluster second and third sequels and still have the high profile that it's got.
See, that's in your opinion, man, because a lot of people say, "Oh, 2's not great, but 3 but I mean, right." So we haven't even talked about Gears of War yet, but Halo,
yeah.
You've got to say they're trying to do some new stuff in every revision. I mean, if you look at ODST, that is so much different from the whatever you feel, whether it's a great game or a bad game or whatever. They really did try something new.
Yeah, they did change up the gameplay. I'll give you that with
ODST. that whole kind of open worldy type feel to it, and kind of and the feel of the game with the kind of whole jazz music stuff going on, and they really did change it up, and I think they've tried to really kind of mix it up as much as they can, without trying to set the fanboys off.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I loved Halo Reach. I really did. It's a really, really good game, but I just think they've been overtaken in so many ways by their competitors over.
See, the problem is now let's discuss Gears of War, but as a bridge to that. Both games have got a rabid fan base. Guys who really know these franchises inside and out, and you make any misstep with it, and they're going to be on you like a rash.
I think you'll find that emblem was on the left side of Master Chief's hand.
Exactly. So you've got to think that both of these games are AAA, and they're being hamstrung by their own fan base. Yeah, by their own fan base to a degree. Yeah. But Gears of War. See, now I like Gears of War. I'm very into Gears of War.
Yeah.
Reason being, it's a great aesthetic. Admittedly, it's very grey and very brown.
Mm-hmm.
But love the cover system. I love the feel of the weapons. I don't like the feel that every enemy's a complete bullet sponge and takes 1 million hits before it goes down.
Yeah.
I love the co-op. Now, me and my partner, my girlfriend, we actually sat down and played Gears of War split screen all the way through.
First one?
The first one, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was my way of getting her into learning how to use 2 sticks. One
a joypad.
A joypad, yeah.
More than 2 buttons.
Yeah, exactly. To one to go forward and one to help you strafe and move around and move the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And it was brilliant for it because it had big enough environments that she could move around, but also you could... Actually, was it Gears of War 2? I think it was Gears of War 2. Because you could set the difficulty down to her to casual and me to hardcore.
Oh, wow. What? And it sort of balanced it...
And it balanced it out.
Accordingly. That's clever.
So that's really clever, And it's like... And there's a lot of really lovely little touches in Gears of War that are like that. All the way through the series. They've really thought about the user experience all the way through it.
It's definitely accessible as far as hardcore games go, isn't it?
Oh yeah, totally. And I personally, the story is a bit baffling because I've never really had the feeling that it's had a narrative that they've had laid out from day one.
It feels more like wallpaper to a great game they've made, rather than
exactly.
Let's build a game around.
Whereas Halo, I think they've always had, to a point, an overarching story that they wanted to tell. And
that's because it's stolen from an old sci-fi series.
Well, yeah, I know, but I think there's something to be said for having groundwork in place,
a world,
as opposed to reacting to the previous game and then writing something off the back of that.
Yeah, no, sure.
You know? So, I mean, I could be completely wrong, and someone will probably send us something on Twitter saying, "I think you'll find that Gears of War had a very deep story that was mapped out over many years, 2 years.
You just didn't understand it."
Yes, but I'm sure, but it never felt like that, and that's the difference. I think Halo felt like that, and I don't think Gears of War felt like that.
Yeah, but Halo feels like you are entering a world that existed before the game started.
Yes, exactly.
Whereas Gears, it feels like the world has been set up for your game.
No, totally. Now, so that's single player, multiplayers, right? Now, you got Gears of War, Horde mode, the inventors of Horde mode, right? Brought something completely...
Smash TV invented it, but I'll let you off.
Well, yeah, but not.
I know it's not the same thing.
I know it's not the same thing. They invented Horde mode. Let's be fair.
Yeah,
they brought that to the masses. You know, that's a complete innovation that everyone has now ripped off, or has got their own. Mass Effect is using it, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and Halo did it in Reach as well.
Yeah, totally. They've now, like in the Horde mode on the new one, you've got this. It's almost like tower defense, where you put down traps and you can buy dummies for them to attack, like the enemies to attack.
A bit like COD Zombies.
Yeah, to a point, but I think it's better than COD Zombies because you've got the trap element of actually and the money, and you can. I can't really explain it because I'm rubbish, but it does feel like they've somehow merged Horde mode with tower defense in a really, really clever way.
Yeah.
And I really look. No, you should do, man. It's excellent. It really is.
Because I couldn't see why Horde mode would be any better than it was before. If that doesn't sound like a
no.
I'm not just flipping it off. I'm just saying it's the kind of mode that you'd think can't be.
What you've got is an economy where you're killing things and getting money, but then you're having to work out
using that for the next.
Yeah, do I spend that for the next wave, or do I reckon I can get through the next wave and then buy an even bigger trap or a bigger, gun turret on the next
just
wave?
Adding a bit of strategy to it.
Yeah, adding a bit of strategy to it. And I really, really enjoyed that. And it's a shame that a lot of my friends kind of moved on from that to... we moved on from that pretty quickly to Battlefield 3 when it came out.
It was only a couple of weeks apart, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's such a shame because I really, really enjoyed that Gears of War 3 Horde mode. And I'd really like to go back to that. So maybe you and I should go back and have a play of that at some point.
Yeah, if I see it around and it's not crazy expensive. And has it got an online pass?
Oh, I don't know, but we'll work something out.
Yeah.
I
just mean that's kind of a hassle if it has.
We'll dip into the AI bots trust fund. Exactly. But so now compare that. So you've got a multiplayer that's the only problem with multiplayer in Gears of War.
Yeah.
Is it's ripe for abuse of shotgun rolling and
shotgun rolling and melee.
So many glitches, and they've never ever curated that game properly, where they cut out all the shit. They've tried to embrace it and make it a gameplay element.
Again, it's a feature, not a bug.
Exactly. And I think they've got that wrong. Now, if you look at Halo and their multiplayer, they have taken out every bug. They've curated it to the nth degree. They've got a whole team just on keeping Halo.
It feels like an artisan product. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
totally.
Like really handcrafted at every single step of the multiplayer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there's so much love and depth been put into that, and so much money as well been thrown at it.
Yeah, can't forget that side.
You can't forget that side of it. But I think Halo, for whatever you think about its mechanics, again, I find it a little bit. I don't find it enjoyable because it doesn't give me enough feedback on both of these games. I seem to be bullet spongy, and I don't like that. I like.
At least in Gears of War, they feel like weapons, though. Whereas Halo often feels like you're firing a pea shooter.
Feel quite underpowered.
Yeah,
but
which again can be. I can see that people can argue that that's exactly how it would be in a alien invasion kind of situation. But,
yeah. I can see that.
But that's the argument is that it should be fun, isn't it? I think it's
totally. And I think the love and the care and the attention that's been put into that multiplayer, and then giving you Forge mode, and then probably giving you the best replay system that has ever been created in any game ever made.
Really?
I think, have you not seen the replay system where you can basically freeze the map, spin round, take a camera angle, and then you can basically go anywhere on the map, and it's all done in real time, and you can have the whole match in one massive replay.
Oh wow!
It's amazing. It's why no one has tried to pick up on that and then use it in their... I mean, I would imagine it's...
Probably because it's quite difficult to do.
I would imagine it's fucking, properly intense on the coding and the programming side. But,
and also amazing. Just to hold all that data for every match
exactly.
available, I suppose,
and then to
is
store
a very
that to your hard
difficult thing to do, isn't it?
Exactly. But I think for me, that curated multiplayer and what is a very... for me, it's not the greatest story in the world, and it seems very convoluted and a bit weird, but it tells a story well, for what it's trying to do. And I think for that, and the fact that the mechanics are very well done, I think that tips Halo over the edge. I think Gears of War is a great game, but it's never for me felt like it's a solid entity throughout its multiplayer and its single player and the story. It's always felt like very bitty.
And again, I think I'm going to have to agree with you on Halo. Purely for the same reasons you've said, but also because Gears of War always feels to me like Resident Evil 4 with aliens.
Yeah, but I mean that was something that they were trying to go for, especially in the first.
Oh, of course it was, yeah. But at the time,
to make that dank.
I could kind of see the joins, and I've never sort of not been able to see them.
But from a devil's advocate point of view, though, Resident Evil 4 is a great game, and to have something that reminds you of a great game, is that a bad thing?
Oh, no, not at all. No, it's a really good thing. And that is the reason I loved Gears of War. I just didn't like the wallpaper that was put over it.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Although I suppose they were quite early in the Space Marine craze in the grander scheme of things, weren't they? I mean,
totally.
It's got a lot worse since then. But even so, at the time, it still felt a bit of a cliched story. But
yeah, I mean, see, the thing is, we're choosing between a great game and a great game. These you can't deny these are very good games.
Jace Stokes, you bastard! You
exactly.
Proper put us through the mill here.
Yeah, mate. Exactly. But that's our first two for this week, anyway. So
Halo and Street Fighter
are Halo and Street Fighter. Boom. But yes. So next week, do you want to pick them next week?
We'll pick them now, and then what people can do is if they've got some way that they think they can tip us over the edge in the argument.
Okay.
They can hit us up on Twitter or email us and let us know. We're going to give the addresses in a bit, and the games for next week are going to be. Do you want to pick one and I'll pick one?
Okay, that's cool. I want to pick R-Type versus 1943.
See, I thought this was a weird matchup. I don't want to go into the actual matchup, obviously, because we're going to save that. But one's side-scrolling and one's top-down.
But that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Is that not the point?
Yeah, I guess.
So let's not get into it now.
Let's not. We'll leave that for next week. Right. In that case, I'm going to pick. Tell you what, we'll take both old school and go Sonic versus Mario.
Okay, cool. Right.
So if you've got any thoughts on R-Type versus 1943 or Sonic versus Mario, then send them to us by email at theaibots.com or on Twitter at theaibots. We've also had a couple of other emails in.
Yep.
One from Don Ragnar, otherwise known as Justin Knowles. And he says, what would we recommend as a hidden stroke underrated gem on PSN or XBLA? E.g. a game that got overshadowed or not promoted.
Well, I don't play a lot of PSN and XBLA games. I'm not a big gamer in that sense. But there is one game that I think not a lot of people have picked up, which is Tomb Raider, Guardian of Light. Right, it's that 3D isometric Tomb Raider game.
Yeah, they made it a bit old school feeling,
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it was got it on the PSN, and I played through the whole game co-op with my girlfriend, and it is amazing.
As a co-op game, it's fantastic, isn't it?
Oh, it's just brilliant. Being able to go through it as it's essentially a twin stick shooter in an isometric set of dungeons. And then you go through and you get sort of weapon progression and better guns as you go through. But then as you're going through these dungeons, just laying waste to everything, you've got puzzle rooms that are just part of the game to get from one area to another area. But then you've got separate like side quest puzzle rooms that are their own little puzzles. That once you do this, that, and the other, you drop a thing and then move a thing, and you throw something out so the other person can climb on it to then get up to a ledge, to then get from that ledge to swing over to get the statue or idol or whatever it is that's in that room. That then gives you the MacGuffin. Basically, then that MacGuffin gives you can select it as a bonus attachment to your equipment. And it will give you faster health regeneration, or it will give you better shields, or so on and so forth.
Like little perks here and there.
Yeah, little perks to basically get you through the game. But each room in that game is so well crafted, it's incredible. And I just loved it. I played through, we played through in co-op in 3 days between the two of us. And my girlfriend is not like a big game player. She will sit down and play games, but she absolutely loved it. So much so that we then went back through it a second time and played it in New Game Plus sort of thing.
Yeah.
And to try and get through all the puzzle rooms and try and work out where all these statues and idols and little bits and bobs were. It was just blew me away. And
so the second time, can you keep your upgrades that you got the first time round?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah. So. Yeah, it was amazing, and if you haven't got it, pick it up because it's brilliant.
It also looks stunning when it's like you don't notice it when it's on when you got the isometric view, but once it closes in for a cutscene,
it's
like wow, this is a proper fully fledged.
It's a fully fledged game. If you'd have paid, it's another one of those games like you were saying earlier. If you'd have paid £30 for it on a disc, you would not have, you wouldn't bat an eyelid. It's brilliant.
Yeah, they might have needed a bit more content, but as a structure for a game, it's
fantastic.
Almost a full retail.
Fantastic. Yeah. So how about you, man? What are your little hidden gems?
Well, I was thinking of a couple. The Double Fine games, Stacked and Costume Quest.
Stacking,
I haven't tried Iron Brigade, but they're not really underrated or overshadowed, are they? Because I think that Double Fine are so well as known as being the underrated company.
If you look at that, their Kickstarter, there's a lot of goodwill and a lot of a lot of backing of nerd culture behind them. So they're probably not the most.
They probably don't need this to shout out quite as much.
Yeah, exactly.
But Stacked and Costume Quest,
I
absolutely adore.
Is it stacked or stacking?
Oh, stacking. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
sorry, I'm being stupid.
I'll pick you up on these things.
Yeah,
they're once in a blue moon, but
So what I'm going to really go for is the first one came out. I think it was part of last year's Summer of Arcade. Outland.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
Nope.
It's a 2D side-scrolling platformer by Housemarque, who did Super Stardust on the PSN.
All right. Okay.
But it's got the Ikaruga or Ikaruga sort of swapping colour system, the duality.
Dark and light mechanic, yeah.
Yeah, this is with red and blue, but so you can either switch between red and blue to run through those bullets of that color, of the other colour.
So it's a platformer. You're saying it's a platformer,
yeah, it's a lot like the old 16-bit Prince of Persia games.
Okay.
It's got that feel to it, or like Flashback, something like that.
Yeah.
Sort of a very French platformer feel, like Another World and Flashback. That whole sort of
nice.
clinging onto the side of a thing and bringing yourself up. And
you've tickled a bone there in me, as it were. Because when you say Flashback and Out of This World, I used to love those.
Yeah,
they were amazing. So I might
if you like those, give this a try.
That sounds amazing.
It's also quite similar in a weird way to Guardian of Light, in the sort of progression of it. In the difficult to explain why I'm saying that, but the way that you progress through the levels in the sort of puzzling, using platforming as a puzzling mechanic, I think you'll quite like that.
Oh, excellent, nice one. Oh, I might check that out. I might go and have.
I'm not sure if that's
that. So when you say you can switch between red and blue,
yeah.
So if you're running up to a guy and he's firing blue bullets at you, can you just switch on the fly to?
Yeah, you switch to blue
and just run through him.
Yeah, you can run through the bullets, but then what if he's blue? Then your attacks as being blue aren't going to hurt him, so you need to then swap to red to be able to take him out.
So you need to sort of switch from red to blue, get past the bullet, switch back, hit him. Oh, okay. It sounds pretty
it uses
interesting.
that duality along with the old platform mechanics to come up with some really interesting puzzles about the swapping of the colour. It's
that sounds good, man.
A little bit different.
I'm going to look that up on YouTube. I won't do it now.
Yeah, do it.
And
then the other game I'd say, again, it's quite a big game, but I don't think a lot of people have played it on 360. Right. Is Sam & Max Season 2?
Yeah, right.
You know the old point-and-click adventures?
Yeah, see, now I'm a big fan of point-and-click adventures. I've got sort of one of the first game I ever completed properly was Monkey Island.
Great game.
Yeah, so I'm big into them. I love my point-and-click adventures. Tried playing been trying to play the Back to the Future ones on the iPad.
Yeah.
At the moment, and they're very good. They're very, very good. So yeah, I've never played Sam & Max. I've always looked into Sam & Max, but it always seemed a little bit too weird and abstract. Some of the
it's not really. Other than the fact that you're playing a dog and a rabbit, the jokes are very sort of low key American comedy. It's got a real sort of sitcom feel to it, and it's actually by the same people who did Back to the Future.
Oh right, okay.
Telltale Games.
Ah.
So yeah, if you're liking one, then you should like the other. It's a big game. You get a lot for your money. I think it's 1,600 points, so it's a bit more expensive than your usual XBLA title. But it's made up of I think it's 5 episodes that were originally released on the PC. You get the whole lot all in one.
All right.
And each one will take you a couple of hours to run through. But the quality of the writing and the jokes is just beautiful. It's up there with like sort of, Frasier and 30 Rock and the big American sitcoms. It's
really like just proper gag writing.
Yeah, just gag after gag after gag. It's absolutely superb. I can't really talk about PSN games. Oh.
People should be gagging for it.
Yeah, see what you done there.
No, it's awful.
Yeah. So that's my other pick for XBLA. But PSN I can't really talk about because I don't have a PS3.
Well, other than your Vita, but that doesn't count.
It doesn't really count. All I could really go for on that is like Super Stardust Delta or Hustle Kings, which neither of which are sort of overshadowed or not promoted.
Yeah, exactly.
Although Hustle Kings is quite nice. Have you played that?
Nope.
If you buy it on the PS3,
I love this because you asked. I love this because you asked me, and I go, no, I haven't got a clue. Every time, it's ridiculous. I really need. Yeah, everything I don't know about.
Of the 5 games that I can mention.
Mate, I've so badly got to broaden my horizons. It's not even funny.
Well, buy yourself Outland and
Yeah, I will do, man. I will do. Yeah, so Hustle Kings.
Hustle Kings, yeah, it's a pool game. I was going to say only a pool game, but pool physics are quite awkward to get right, I suppose. Yeah. Archer McLean's done it.
I was going to say, the baseline standard is Archer McLean's pool or Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was. Right, so compared to that, go.
Compared to that, it's a pretty similar game. I mean, you've got 6 pockets.
there's a table. It's got blue or green bays. You can hit balls that are spherical, and you use a stick or cue, as it's known.
That's what they're called.
Oh,
I knew I should have read the help file.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you buy it on PS3, you also get it on Vita. It's one of those sort of cross-platform games. So
fantastic.
Not that it's reason enough for me to buy a PS3.
No, exactly.
Play a pool simulator.
Seems a bit expensive.
Yeah, 50p on the edge of the table would do, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Go down a local pub, Dan.
Exactly, simple as.
Exactly. And you can get beer there.
Yeah. Oh, if you could download beer on PSN, how good would that be?
That'd be amazing.
Next-gen consoles, that's the killer feature.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Just a little tap on the side of it.
If they don't do that now, they're missing a trick. Like...
Drink-laden content.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, so
I'm getting one of them.
So you're saying for PSN, Tomb Raider Guardian of Light?
Yes, mate.
And I'm going to go Outland and Sam & Max Season 2.
Superb. So is that all the emails and Twitters and?
It's not. We got a late one through after we'd started recording from a friend of the show, Ryan Astley. Now he says, following the recent Mario Brothers announcement, have Nintendo cottoned on that a lack of innovation and personality sells more products nowadays?
All right. So what do you think about that then, man?
It's a bit of a leading question, isn't it? It's like he's trying to sort of point me in one direction.
Yeah.
So my thinking is that the Mario series is so broad. Like you've got your stuff like Mario Galaxy, where they do try and sort of push the boundaries, push the envelope a bit. And then you've got your 2D stuff, like this New Super Mario Brothers 2, or New Super Mario Brothers Wii was a similar thing. I think there's enough room for both innovation and sort of the older school 2D side scrolling in this day and age.
Yeah.
Especially like Mario's, like I say, is a broad character, isn't he? The gamers love him. The kids love him. He's a real family.
Yeah, it's a family favourite. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but then he's also got the hardcore behind him as well, I think. So I'm not quite sure that Nintendo have made this announcement because they've cottoned on to that they need to either not innovate or not have personality. I don't think it really relates to that.
I think they're just trying to push certain thing to a certain market, and they'll have something in the pipeline that will push something more innovative to the market later on, maybe.
Sure. Well, as they did, like Super Mario 3D Land from last year was.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not every Mario product needs to be innovative, you know.
Yeah, I see that point, and nor does every product on the whole. It doesn't like whether it's Mario, whether it's totally. Nintendo, whether it's Microsoft or whoever.
I mean, look at an Assassin's Creed. I mean, they've hardly innovated, but they've done really well by knocking out essentially the same game with different twists on it. So, you know, maybe giving people what they want for 2 or 3 iterations is not necessarily a bad thing. You know, in films, Lord of the Rings, you know, you're giving people 3 films that are orcs, elves, and wizards.
Yeah, it's essentially the same thing, but it's what people want.
Yeah. So doing that is not necessarily a bad thing. That's what I
think. Pertinent point, our game of the week this week, Trials Evolution, not only is it very much an extension of a game that was a few years old, it's also, as you said, related. Like it's a 30-year-old game designed from Kickstart on the C64.
Yeah, totally.
It's something that sometimes things don't necessarily need moving on; they just need honing and polishing.
Sometimes you got to keep it familiar.
Exactly. And that's all the emails for this week.
All right, sweet.
If you've got any questions for us or any topics you'd like to see us discuss,
yes,
do send us an email at email@theaibots.com. Or you can hit us up on Twitter @theaibots.
Superb.
And I think that's us pretty much done for this week.
That's us done, man. That is definitely us done.
Phew.
Let's get.
We've got for another big grab bag of topics, haven't we?
Yes, mate. Right, let's get the hell out of here.
Nice one. Take care, mate.
See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.